So we're going to cover a live mains insertion technique. Basically, from start to finish, I'll explain of what happens within the process and what benefits it are. So for people who don't know about it, live mains is a new PE main inserted in the existing live gas main. So the annular space still feeds the properties at the present time. This is just a quick video of the start to end process of it. So it's a one-way fed system, so if you can imagine on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a cap end, there's no kind of back feed on that. The team will excavate down and back the gas main off as they normally would. The coil then arrives on site and that's tested up on the side of the street before it's actually inserted, so there's an integrity test carried out on that pipe first. There's a glam box on the left-hand side that you can see there, and then a standard cap end that'll seal the gas on this side as well. The live head is one of a kind of itself, so that allows the gas to flow in and out of the new PE. To commission the actual new PE itself, you deflate the airbags within the gas main. That then sends the gas that's coming through the bypass into the PE and purges the main. Once you've got your readings, you're then in a position where you can put the mini digger on and the pipe handler onto the PE and push the PE into the existing live gas main. So you can do anything from 10, 20, 30 metres. We've done 400, 500 metre pushes on the small diameter. On the larger diameter, it's been known up to a few kilometres at a time. Once you push the PE, you squeeze the PE off, the customs are still on gas, and then you can tie that into the existing cast. You release the squeeze off, the gas is then coming through the existing cast, along the new PE, out the live head, and it's the live head that's actually feeding the annular, so that's what is feeding the services. In most instances, what you'll have teams doing, what you'll have is pushing from two ways, so pushing in that section and this section as well. So once you've actually pushed the main in itself, you obviously need to start transferring your services. So the way that's done is you're using a foam system, so you inject a foam off kit into the cast iron main, and that stops the flow of the gas coming back to the section of main that you want to abandon. You can do that through the existing top tee if you like, or you can also drill a fresh hole and use that. Once the foam's cured, you can use the breakout system to break through the cast main. You do need a clean cut on this section here that allows you then to put a live end seal on, which is guaranteed against the gas tight seal for 6 months. Transfer your services onto your new PE main, and that's your gas replacement done. So you've got a new PE main, you've got a new service as well. So basically, to kind of do that in a bit of a slow motion, the bagging off system is exactly the same as what you would use if you're doing a dead insertion. The bypass is the same, all that is the same setup. The glam box is a one-off use item, so once you've used that, that stays on the main, you don't need to take that off. That seals, so there's a very small piece of rubber inside that seals the gas. The PE is tested, like we said, on the side. You can use a variation of live end seals, test ends, or you can use the existing cap ends that are available. So the live head, like we said, it allows gas out and it allows gas in. So these are the test ends. They do two things, obviously. You can allow to test the main, and when you need to purge the main as well, they're a purge point. You also can anchor the PE as you're taking the PE off the coil, so there's an added safety factor into that as well. Once the coil's tested, you screw the live head in and you are ready for the insertion. So that's the gland box, just to have a little closer look at it. And then this is the technique itself. So to commission the PE, on a one-way fed system you will need a 32 strap. So that comes from the back of the bypass dome onto the first vent of the bag, and then so you're taking the gas from here, around, and through the coil, and then that's how you purge your main. Once you've got two reading to 90 gas in air, you can start pushing. So the pipe handler is attached to the PE, and then you're ready to push. So there's all different sizes of the pipe handler. This one's the 125 one. There's anything available up to a 900mm as well. Nice and easy to use, no kind of setting up time, just attaches to the machine. That's on a 1.5 ton machine. Anything above the 125 pipe, you want to be looking at maybe a 3 ton machine. And again, obviously, the bigger the pipe handler, the bigger the machine that you're going to want to have for the force and the handling of it. So once the PE is then inserted, you need to squeeze the PE off to be able to cut the existing coil off the remaining section. And then you can tie that back in. So you're back to square one, you've got a consistent flow of gas. Like we said before, if you want to be in a position where you're pushing both ways, that's the ideal setup. Push one section, push another section, and then you can tie the mains together. So, once you push the main in, you then obviously need to renew the services as well. This is done with a foam-off kit. So the foam-off kit, you can either drill a fresh hole like we said, or a lot of people use the existing. No need for a team to dig out the full street. They can put the live insertion in, and then they can work their way in a good manner along the street to be able to pick the services off. There's no need for long working days. The team doesn't need to be there till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. There's absolutely no reason for that whatsoever. It's custom friendly. With you only going off gas once, it's a lot more easy to plan to be able to keep people in. You're having one purge and relight, so there's a massive cost saving for the actual companies themselves. They're not sending a purge and relight gentleman or person out twice that week. The convenience for the team, the convenience for the public, less disruption, and it's just a lot easier to manage. And generally, the big issues of the LMI often achieve the top financial incentives. So just two quick case studies that we'll do. I've been working heavily with Balfour Beatty in Blackpool the past 12 months. They generally don't use a lot of live mains insertion, they never have done. Historically they did a little bit, but not for many years. Over the past 12 months they've really got involved with it, and they've been doing a lot of work with that. And then there's another one in Bristol that we'll show you. So the section in Balfour Beatty, they've done 12 kilometres of 4-inch and 6-inch over the last 12 months. Now 12 kilometres might not sound a great deal, but when they're coming from 0 kilometres live mains insertion, it's a big jump, it's really good to see. There's a lot of new teams who've never used it, so we're doing quite a lot of training with them as well. There's very little difference in productivity. They're seeing an uplift, if nothing else. No customer complaints that I'm aware of. A reduction in the excavations, because they can backfill them and reinstate as soon as they're finished. And the teams do say that they're not having that push day stress, so they're not doing 200 metres and 20 hours each time, every time they want to do it. So the one in Bristol is a very busy commercial area. They managed to push 1.6 kilometres from one excavation. There was 267 properties on that section. So basically 1 every 5 metres. So if you can imagine trying to do that with a dead mains insertion, it'd just be impossible. They were doing around 30 services a week with a 4-man team, so that's very impressive as well, and a considerable cost and time saving to Wales and West. This is just a small video of the larger diameter pipe handler. So this is 315. We do a pipe handler anything up to 900 mil. So the small foam kit that you saw before, this is just a larger size, obviously. Just to show you, it's a very similar process, just a little bit more foam going in, slightly bigger hole, but that's to be expected. Again, it's the lads in the team that carry this out as well, so there's no kind of real reason to bring an external contractor out to do this. So again, still in one hole, one excavation, one drilling through the main. You can just have to put the Y branch on and use 2 larger guns to insert that foam into the main. So a little bit of coordination from the team leader. You could have 2 lads doing it if you really wanted to. He's happy to do it on his own. Once the foam's set, pull the standpipe out and you're ready for busting the main. Again, with it being cast, he has used crackers. If it were ductile, we could use the keel cutters on a larger scale. And again, just to finish the job off, the live end seal that we saw a few moments ago, just again on a larger scale. So instead of zip ties, a bit more heavy duty ties for this, for the pressure on it. And as you can see, it doesn't need to be absolutely bone dry, it doesn't need to be perfectly clean, and it still works. And that's it. Once you've poured it in, seal it off, zip tie it down at the bottom, and in about 30 minutes that'll be solid. And that's it. That is the final process within the live mains insertion on that job. And that is covering live mains, so you've seen the small diameter, the large diameter. I hope it kind of covered a little bit more what people weren't too aware of what was available out there, the different ductile cutters, the different pipe pushers. Thank you for your time.
Any questions for Andy? So, yeah, James.
Just from a previous speaker, talking about the obstructions in the gas main and the effective flow and all that sort of thing. Obviously, if you're doing a live main insertion, the pipe is going is smaller than the original diameter pipe. Do you have to up the pressures or something to then achieve the same gas flow? How does that work?
Yeah, so the calculations have already been worked out for that. So you've got ideal sizes really, such as a 75mm pipe in a 4-inch main. The annulus is equivalent to a 75mm pipe. So you've got like for like within reason. Again, you could do 90 mil up a 4 inch if you wanted to. The annulus is about 63 mil. So yeah, if you're on a terrace street and you're doing 200 metres and you've got 45 properties, you might want to look at just creeping them pressures up slightly. It's not an absolute necessity. The majority of the mains that we're doing are like 75 in 4, 125 in a 6, and it works absolutely perfect with no pressure loss.
Question for myself, what's the maximum sizes that you can do with this? It's a very substantial pipe out.
There is, within reason, obviously the only thing that kind of determines that is network. So if we can get a deviation to do a different size for the networks, then that's no problem at all.
Any other questions for Andy? Or okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we'll move on to our last speaker of this afternoon session.